Hey SWAEers, this is Karnak with Star Wars Armada Explained. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be looking at a short video today. I've got a thing to go to some friends. I wanted to do a longer video. Didn't have time, so I'm actually redoing one of my old videos. I'm doing Support Officer. Now I had done it before in the past, but some people who were going through some of my much older material back when I first started pointed out that I got this card way wrong. So I'm redoing this video. So Support Officer, very straightforward. He is a generic officer, meaning he can be equipped to either faction. Support Officer is not unique, meaning you can equip as many of him as you have to any of your ships. He does take an officer slot, though, which you can see in the bottom left-hand corner of the card. Support Officer costs 4 points. His card reads, at the start of the command phase, you may discard this card to discard all of your command dials. So let's talk about this card and break it down and how it works. So before, I had erroneously thought that when you discarded all the command dials, that you didn't get to set any new dials. Well, again, I kind of misinterpreted the timing, which is at the start of the command phase. So remember, at the start of the command phase, that's when you are choosing dials and setting, if you take your old dial from the previous round, you take it, you set it, and then you put it under your command stack. So at the start of this command phase, so before you actually start technically setting your dials, you discard that card, you take all your command dials, and you technically discard them. Now you then proceed into the command phase, where you can actually then take all those dials and then reset them. So you actually do get a command dial when you go into the start of the ship phase. So this card is great for if you've been slicered, or if you have had certain commands set wrong and you're like, oh man, I need to change strategies. Because the difference between him and something like Skilled First Officer just discards the top dial and you reveal the next dial. Well, this card is, maybe I've messed up all my dials and I need to get rid of all of them. So he's much, much better on larger command dial type ships like the Super Star Destroyer, which sets 4 turns in advance, or a Star Destroyer, which sets typically 3 turns in advance. So if you need to completely change up your strategy or your dials, that's what the Support Officer is going to do. Again, start of the command phase, you say, hey, I'm discarding this card. I'm taking all my command dials. They are technically discarded. I then get them all back. I reset them in any order that I choose for my the new commands for the new command stack. Go into this ship phase. You reveal the top dial then. So his biggest uses, though, like as I mentioned, Super Star Destroyer or the regular Star Destroyer. And typically you probably will see them more in larger point games, just because in the 400 point setting, boy, those officer seats are highly contested. Even though Super Star Destroyer gets 3 seats, if that's like essentially your only main combat ship, he still struggles to find a place on there. But what some players will likely try to find room for him, because Rebels have a card, Chem Sandula, where they can go in and change all of your dials on your ship. So you can kind of make an argument to where you could bring him to try to counteract what Cham could do. The thing is that not every Rebel player is bringing Cham, because Cham finds limited use against lots of other fleet archetypes. So it's just kind of that risk versus reward. I definitely would recommend, if you're bringing an SSD in larger point games, find room for a Support Officer, because Cham will definitely be around on Rebel ships where he's going to find more of an opportunity to have a seat. So that's Support Officer. I know I kind of went off a little bit on some other card talking explanations, but it's very, very simple. Of course, if you feel like I missed anything or if I got anything wrong, please be sure to point it out. Let me know. Otherwise, I do appreciate you guys watching the video, and hey, I'll catch you all next time.